Tiananmen, the anniversary of Tiananmen Massacre. It probably will take me
Yes.
almost as long to introduce it as it will to read it. But so I was teaching over there in 1989, right, during all the student demonstrations, and my students were among the demonstrators. So there is a fair amount in this book about that. And the reason there is because Eileen's story by itself is not very accessible to a Western audience. There's just a lot of things Western people wouldn't understand. So I wrote little anecdotes from my life in 1989 while I was recording the memoir to sort of help people understand things. So there are several earlier anecdotes about the demonstrations and what people were saying about them and how they were affecting people at the college and all that. But this is actually the anecdote for August 1989, after all the cameras had gone away and the school was getting ready to start up again. And this is my memoir introducing Eileen's. So, 6 a.m. I wake to the strident sound of the Chinese national anthem, played with martial gusto at ear-splitting volume from the college loudspeakers. In the distance, I can hear the same refrain belting from the speakers in nearby factories. Soon, sleepy students will drag themselves out to the ball fields and line up to do their morning exercises. I smile fondly as I rise out of sleep. Somehow, the obnoxious morning wake-up music makes me feel like I'm home. In fact, I've just returned from home after a summer spent back in the USA. And though I enjoyed reconnecting with friends and family in Massachusetts, I'm delighted to be back at the college. I can't wait to see my students, catch up with my Chinese friends and colleagues, and see how Eileen is faring. My enthusiasm is dampened, literally, when I notice the weather. Kunming's rainy season is in full swing, and it's pouring outside. I decide that cleaning the apartment might be more urgent than a bicycle ride into town. But my return hasn't gone unnoticed. Before long, there's a knock at my door, and I open it to find my colleague, Mrs. Liang. She often consults me for help with her application letters for overseas positions, and in the process keeps me up to date with all the college gossip. She also makes outstanding swan cai, a pickled green cabbage with ginger and chili, and she knows how much I love it. She's carrying an aromatic plastic bag full of swan cai as a welcome home gift. I cheerfully set aside my dust cloth and offer her some green tea as she sits in my armchair. We chit-chat a bit about my summer vacation. Then I ask her whether she's had any luck with her latest applications. Yeah, she says gloomily. The government has new rules for people who want to go overseas. It's more difficult now. And if we get permission, we have to pay 7,000 yuan as a bond. We lose it if we don't come back to China. Wow, that's really a lot of money. It's more than I can get, she agrees. Everything is more difficult now. The government's nervous about what will happen when the students come back to college. Did you know the college president is gone? What? Yes, he was accused of supporting the student movement last spring, so he lost his job. Now all the college leaders are leftists. Some of the teachers who supported the movement lost their jobs too. A lot of the others had to stand up in front of everyone in the college and confess their mistakes. She lowers her voice and leans toward me conspiratorially. And I'm in terrible trouble. What? What happened? Over the summer, I went on a bus trip to Sichuanbana. The police searched the bus and took my diary. I wrote a lot of things in support of the students. To my shock, she starts to cry. I don't know what to do, she says. I'm afraid I'll be arrested. I don't know if I should divorce my husband. He could be in trouble too if the police arrest me. I don't want my trouble to be his trouble. I listen and offer as much meaningless comfort as I can, but a safe and sympathetic ear is all I have to give her. Maybe no one can do more. She doesn't dare talk about her fears with her Chinese colleagues. Later, when the sun is out, I cycle into town to see Eileen. I tell her a little about my vacation, and she regales me with her cat troubles and her continuing dental problems. Finally, I tell Eileen about all the changes at the college. She nods. Many people in Beijing were put in jail last year. 30 people were kept in one room as small as this one. And you know how hot it is in Beijing, 105 degrees. If there are 30 people in this room, the air won't be enough. It'll be so hot. No bath or shower. That's terrible. Nobody could stand it. So yesterday, on the news, they showed 130 of them from the student movement who just got freed. They said, "I'm wrong, forgive me." So then the government let them out, and the government had face. It said, "Look, they were wrong. They made mistakes, and now they regret them. They begged us." They really begged. Everything is sliding downhill. I'm really afraid the Cultural Revolution is starting again. All the old people are afraid. And I'm reminded again that as a foreigner living in China, I'm insulated from the fear that presses my Chinese friends every day. If I were a Chinese citizen, I might not feel so at home.